Coming up on this episode of the Spiro podcast, we're speaking the realtor's language, and you're positioning yourself as more than just a photographer. And I hate to say this, but photography, if you only talk about photography, it boils down to a commodity.
It does.
But if you could position yourself as somebody that understands the market as a whole and how your tools, your commodity can help them grow their business, you've now positioned yourself differently than someone that isn't diving into the numbers.
Welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. With your hosts, Todd Craig and Craig Magrum.
Hi, and welcome to the Spiro podcast, managing your real estate photography and videography business. Spiro is a software platform. It's designed and created to help you manage your day-to-day real estate media business, and ultimately really to help you grow and scale if that's your goal. And we hope it is. Though there's those of you like me that like to keep things small as well. So everybody fits under this tent. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Craig Magrum. In with us this week, we do have a special guest, although she's more of a regular, really. But also our owner and founder, Todd Craig. Welcome back, Todd.
Craig, great to be in here. Fabulous week here. We've got some exciting stuff. This is one I look forward to. This is our market update. You guys are getting used to it. You're looking forward to it. So one thing I just want to say is just everything, all of the input and all of the just the questions and the things that you send into us, it's just incredible. I had a tech talk last night. I do tech talks on Thursdays. Check the Spiro Super User Facebook page. But I just love being in there with you all. You have just such insightful questions. You're so kind to begin with, and we get through some really good stuff. So if you haven't been on a tech talk, go find an old one and watch it, or at least breeze through the comments. There is some really good stuff in there, some stuff that I screwed up for 20 years and then finally figured out the right way to do it. And you all give good input too. So it's super exciting to have you all and be a part of this community with you.
Absolutely. And the guest we mentioned, Shannon Landers. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure to be here with you.
We're excited to talk about kind of recaps. Yeah, numbers. Second quarter recap and third quarter forecast. Yes. But before we do that, Todd, we always like to give some updates on Spiro, and Shannon has some things to share about Spiro itself as well. So I'll let you two take and run with it.
Yeah, thank you, Craig. So I'll give you a quick Spiro update. So the next cycle, we're calling this cycle 12, will launch July 8th. So this might be after July 8th, the time you're listening to this. So this is live in your system. And a couple of things that you will see are admin override ability. So as an admin, you can place an order for an agent, and you do that just like an agent does it. And there's a couple of things being override the price and override the date and time that you're like, hey, can we just do it on the order page? And with this update, you can do that. There's some other goodies in there like split payments, new property website, a about me section for your realtors, which is really cool. Put that in your newsletter. We talked about it on the Tech Talk, but some really good things for you to reach out to. Reasons to reach out to your agents, The last thing I want to say, and I said from the beginning that, and I heard from you all say, hey, I just want you to be more transparent. Tell us what's happening. So what's happening for cycle 13 is we are looking at, you're not going to get any one great new feature. We have like 10 of them in mind and some game-changing features you'll get later in the year. But we know you're busy. And we know that when we push these new features out, when you're busy, it's one more thing for you to figure out. And then you're like, oh, did I set it up? Am I using it right? How do I tell my agents about it? My agents are asking me about it. I don't even know anything about it. So we wanted to take that off of you. We wanted to look at what you are using in the system and how we can compact time for those actions. So just a very simple example is the property website editor. I know many of you are out on the road using that thing while you drive. You should. Don't use it when you drive. It's not good. All right. So that's the first thing. Like, I'm going to be Dad Todd today. Like, don't use it when you drive. It's very dangerous. But I know some of you pull the car over or you wait before you go in your next shoot and you are looking through yesterday's shoots, trying to rearrange, trying to expedite, trying to make sure everything's done, QC'd, and then deliver. And we are looking at the way you use that page, and we are 100% optimizing it for you. So and mobile optimize. It's great on a desktop, but we've got 6-foot wide monitors. On a phone, it's different. So those are the type of things that we're going to change for you. I want to give you back more time so that you can work on the bigger things that are more important that will make your business a success. So that's coming in 13. That's the end of August. So Shan, we get just awkward transition, y'all, but I love them. You guys know I love awkwardness. So another question we get asked all the time is, as you guys come in, and I know some of you out there don't use Spiro, and that's okay. I'm still happy to have you in here. We've had a lot of you recently that are like, hey, I just need to get switched. Like I've been wanting to do this. Now's a good time. I want to get switched, or new people coming in. Okay. We have solutions for you. So Shannon came up with some beautiful programs. Some are like a no cost to you. Shannon, can you tell about our onboarding options?
Yes, we're super excited, and this will be posted out in our super user group today. So if you're in there, you'll see it. And if not, just shoot me an email at shannon@spiro.media and I'll send it right over to you. But we have created some great packages to get onboarded in the system. And this all started about a year ago. I've been here a year. Woohoo. It's gone very fast. And through this time, we've been helping people onboard into the system because we understand. And Todd, the more customizable we make the system, it's just a little bit harder to get in there and get going. And we know the system best. So we just decided we really want to help people. So we've been kind of doing this like pre-buy program where you buy some credits, and for that commitment, we give you our time. So we hired back in December, Lovey. So many people have heard Lovey's name, and we love Lovey. She is awesome. And she has really creating her own onboarding team, and she has hired Maria to assist her, who is actually her sister. So I have two amazing people that can help onboard you and get you all acclimated into the system. But what we know is that not every business is the same size, right? We have new people just starting. We have some mid-sized businesses, and we have some really large businesses looking at coming over to Spiro. And we're thankful for all of that. So number one, thank you guys for looking at us. And so for that, we have a foundation onboarding program where they can literally just pay $250. They get that in credit. So it's essentially free, right? Those credits are going to go.
Wait a minute. Say that it's free?
It's free.
Okay,
because the $250 is going to go right on their account and just cover their first 50 listings. So they don't have to worry about it. And for that, we're going to build their system for them, build their default order page, and give them a launch call and go through everything so they know how to use the system. And then, of course, those mid-sized businesses, we have our accelerated program. So we do more, right? We give you a little bit more, and it's $500, and you get half of that back in credits. So it's really only $250 to have our full team do multiple launch calls with you, build all your order pages, take care of everything. And then we have one more layer. So for those big companies or for the people that just don't have the time, we have our enterprise level, and we will do everything. We will write your descriptions. We will create your thumbnails. We will do multiple launch calls. And the best part, you will have a Slack channel directly to the onboarding team for the first 90 days.
Wow.
So lots of power. That isn't $1,000 program. But again, $500 of that is going to go to credits to your account. So it's really only $500 that you spend to have one-on-one attention the first 90 days you're in Spiro.
Love that. Love that.
It's great. It's fantastic.
And those that are going through the programs, they love it. It's one less thing. And we talk about time tracking a lot. Like, this is something that you can pay nothing or very little to have us do. And then you can focus on bigger items. And plus, you can have us. We do this all day, every day. We know the system front and back. We'll optimize it for you. So, that's just something to think about. And again, I know I'm biased because this is Spiro and it's our product, but something to think about. And we did it because we heard from you guys like, hey, can you do this for me? When you have enough people ask you something, and do this in your business, if you have enough realtors ask you for something, you should begin to consider, like, do you do it for them? So that is us listening to you guys, and we are gracious for your feedback and excited about these programs.
Yes. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to email me. We're going to put some information out there. It'll be on our website very soon. So we're just excited to help get you in the system, let you keep focusing on going and getting clients, which is what you want to do, and us teaching you and helping you move through Spiro and get more time back, right? The whole goal, like, let's get more time back. So very, very excited. So now we get to talk about a bunch of numbers, which is not always exciting, but I think it is because I'm a realtor. So and we know me, I just like the numbers anyway. So if you ever want any data analysis, just throw it my way because I really like to look at it.
I like hearing about the numbers. I just don't want to crunch them.
I don't disagree with that. I just want them to me, and then I can look and analyze. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Shannon did all the hard work, Craig, and the reason why we do this, like Shannon said, is we want you to make metric-based decisions. There are so many things in your business that will get you emotional. At least I can be a very emotional person. Ask Shannon or Craig. I try to put those emotions aside. Craig almost just spit out his drink. If you're not watching. I try to put those emotions aside, and I try to make metric-based decisions. I've made enough emotional decisions that I've looked back and I was like, wow, I wish I didn't make that decision. So we try to tie everything back to metrics. We try to look at it. So one simple example, then I'll let Shannon give you all of the data, because this is going to be important with what you do looking at quarter 3 and 4 of 2025 and then into 2026. One thing right now that you can expect, we're coming into the July 4th holiday here in the States. One thing you can expect is you are going to be slower. It's going to happen. I used to overthink this holiday times 100. And I'd be like, well, the 4th is on a Tuesday. I bet people will take off until Thursday and we'll be busy again on Friday. Or the 4th is on a Friday. They're probably going to work Monday and Tuesday. No, it's not going to. Realtors are not going to work any of it. You're not going to be as busy. In fact, I've got the data right here. If you're on YouTube, and you can see, I'll put my finger by the 4th of July. You see that? It's a big dip down. Yep. This is coming in. Here is build the busy season. Boom, it drops off. Here's 8 years of data. There's like 100,000 jobs on here. It happens every single year. Don't be surprised at it. That's why we want you to make data decisions, because next week on the 4th, we're taking off time. Staff is taking off time. We tell them, hey, this is a great week for you to take off time. Staff's taking off time. And we're planning for other things because we know the phone's not going to ring as much. The email's not going to be as busy. There's not going to be as many photographers needing something. This is where I'm going to insert some projects that I wanted to get done for a while. So that's why you make metric-based decisions. There's been plenty of years that I've looked at July 4th and I've sat here in this office and I've gone, like, phone, could you please ring? And it's like, no, Todd, just don't be surprised by something that you know. So that's why we like to make metric-based decisions. And one thing is that we're seeing a shift. Shannon's going to tell you all about it, but we're seeing a shift in the real estate industry. And knowing what that shift is and knowing what's in the brains of your realtors will help you connect with them. So how's this all shaking down here, quarter 2 of 2025, Shannon?
It's the data is actually really, really interesting. And we've been saying this for like about the last 18 months in real estate. Like, it's just very strange. Like, and I think, here's the big picture, right? Typically real estate markets, they cycle every 7 to 10 years. And what I mean by cycle is they shift from like buyer's markets to seller's markets. And it's a very normal trend, right? What goes up must come down. What goes down must go up. This is the law of the sales. What we've seen, obviously, in the last, I'd even say from, about a decade, is that we came out of a very, very large buyer's market, right? From 2008 and 9 when everything, right?
Holy
Everything
cow.
popped and it was nuts. And there were thousands and thousands of houses on the market, right? And so we shifted by about 2014 to kind of normalizing. And then honestly, the interest rates dropped and the houses just started selling like hotcakes, right? I mean, let's just face it. There was years that you just threw a house on the market. You just threw it out there and it had 25 offers because there was no inventory out there. And everybody's trying to chase and get the same, houses. So it's definitely trending back to what I would call just a more normal cyclical market. That's what we got going on, Craig. And what we see in the numbers is we see sales down a little bit, right? They are down, and regionally they're down differently. And we're going to talk about that because, again, real estate is very local, right? We are going to talk today in the broader picture of the United States and in regions. But it is very important, and I'll say it on every single market update that we do, that you dial into your local numbers and you see what's going on in your market. Because we have markets, especially here in the US, doing very different things in very different places, right? From Austin to Dayton, Ohio, to the East Coast, to Florida, out to LA. It is a very, very different scene. So we're going to kind of get into these numbers. Craig, are you ready?
As ready as I can be.
I know. So I am actually going to share my screen. So for those that are driving and listening, we will talk about these numbers. Don't worry. If you're on YouTube, great. You get to see a lot of these numbers. So let's do that, Craig. Let's get this shared and find the right window here. There we go.
I'm interested to see this. A friend of mine that I grew up with in school, he's a realtor out in, I believe it's Arizona, and he just posted a graphic yesterday. He said, it's official. It's now a buyer's market.
Buyer's market. Yeah, you're hearing that, right?
Yeah.
Now, and that's why I love talking about this regionally too. And I'm gonna break out how NAR. So number one, I pull most of my stats from NAR. Okay, the National Association of Realtors. They have a great chief economist. He's awesome. You can go to NAR's site, nar.realtors, and get all this data yourself, guys. So this is all out there for you to see and use. They do little videos too, so you can listen to them while you're driving on what they think is happening in the market. The other place I get a lot of information on, and this is also just out there for anybody, is Keller Williams Market Update. So if you just Google Keller Williams Market Update, you'll get this site. They do this every month. They do a market update. And what I really love about what KW does, and again, I'm not, I know we have many photographers that are agents too, so I don't care what brokerage you're at. I'm just at KW and the information's easy for me.
Sure.
But what they do is they talk about strategies within the numbers. So that's what I love about that market update. They're talking to realtors or even to clients, buyers and sellers, of saying, here's what the strategy should be. And here's an agent that you should work with these kind of strategies. So I just really enjoy those two. So 2 resources for you. But here's what NAR is talking about right now. Now, again, these numbers are through May of 2025, Craig, right?
Okay.
The numbers lag almost a whole month.
Sure.
So the next June numbers will come out about July 23rd. So they just lag that much. But we're through 5 months of data here. That gives us a lot of data to look at. And we can do some of our fun predictions and things. Right. So the first thing they do is we look at these existing home sales market, right? So what we're going to look at here, Craig, is our existing home sales first.
Sure.
Okay. So existing home sales, what they're saying is they do a seasonal number and try to predict how many home sales we'll have this year. So right now, this number is 4.03 million. Mm-hmm. If you remember when we talked last time, we kind of predicted about 4.5 million sales this year. This doesn't mean we might not hit that. This is just how the numbers annualize right now. So if we were to take the numbers, annualize them through the year, they're saying 4.03 million houses. Okay.
Down from 4.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll see, right? And
Okay.
if we look year over year, we're down 0.7%. So
Okay.
it's not a huge number, but we're trending
Down a
down.
little
Now
bit.
month over month was up 0.8%. So
Okay.
this is what I talk about, the weirdness of the numbers. Like, well, year over year we're down, but month over month we're up. Well, it's May, right? When do
Right.
we sell houses? May, June, July, right?
Mhm.
So we should see those month over month numbers hopefully tick up a little bit. So then the next thing we look at is inventory. Okay. Inventory always tells the story. And we are up to 4.6 months of inventory nationwide. We were at 3.8 months of inventory last May. So that is almost a full month tick up. And what that means, everybody's always like, what does it mean when you say months of inventory, right? What that means is if we could sell every house that's on the market, it would take us 4.6 months to sell those houses, essentially. That's the easy answer, okay? There's absorption rates and all sorts of things that go into this, but we won't dive into that. So inventory is up. Now, if we overall look at a buyer's market versus a seller's market, what we typically say is 6 months and under is a seller's market, and 6 months above is a buyer's market. Okay. So again, but really what the number means is, do you have more sellers or do you have more buyers? If you have more buyers, then it's a seller's market. If you have more sellers, then it's a buyer's market, essentially, right? So we are definitely trending towards that 6 months of inventory. So that is why you're hearing people say, we're in a buyer's market. And again, locally, that number could be higher.
Sure.
Depending. It also could differ price range, right?
That's what I've been hearing from my clients in my market is the number I've heard, at least locally, is like anything 350 and above is sitting and price reductions are starting to happen. Anything below 350 is still flying off the market.
Yes. And you're going to see that, right? And especially Craig, our markets are very similar, that you and I are in. And I've had a first-time home buyer, price point of 220, and it's taken us the 14 weeks to get them into a home. So on average, it takes 12 to 14 weeks to buy. And that is what it's taken us because we've lost out on 7 homes.
Oh, man.
And it's exhausting for them, right? They're a young couple getting married. I'm so excited for them. It's actually the daughter of the mother who watched my children, right?
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I can't even believe she's getting married and buying a house, right? It's really making me feel old. But it's been great. We finally, I think, are getting them locked into a house that they're going to love forever. So, but this is the tail of the market. Now, looking at prices too, because that's kind of the third thing that matters. Median sale price is up year over year 1.3%. But we're seeing the market have price reductions, to your point, right? So what is that? Like, if we really think about that, all that means is we know that prices have been a bit elevated for a while. Now, there's no bubble. I very clearly want to state there's still no bubble that's going to pop. There's no 08 happening. What this just means is we'll probably have some price corrections that are needed, but not crazy. We're not talking 20, 30% price reductions or corrections. We're just going to see probably a 1 to 8% correction, depending on what market you're in prices. So affordability for buyers, what that means is it will bring more buyers back in the market, right? Affordability will get a little bit better. Interest rates are probably going to stay where they're at, guys. Unfortunately, policy and the uncertainty in the government can create just not moving in those numbers. So we just have to kind of, I think most buyer sentiment is they're just fine. They get it. 3 and 4% interest rates are not coming back.
And that's never historically been normal anyway.
Ever. ever.
Right.
I mean, the historical average is 7%. So we're good. I'd love to get us, I would love to be about 5.5%, 6%.
Sure.
That would be a great place to be. And I think we'll get there, but I think the rest of the year, we're pretty much going to see 6.5 to 7, and that's where we're going to live. But there's a lot of programs. So that's a whole nother conversation out there. So buyers have some options. So looking at pending home sales, what's interesting here is that the pending home sales are kind of our lead into existing home sales, right? So what pending home sales are is all the houses on the market that are under contract. Okay. So that tells us kind of what the next, 30, 60, 90 days of home sales could look like. And what we see regionally, and let me say this really quick. So NAR breaks out the country in 4 different buckets. Okay. So they have the West, which covers like California to Arizona, Nebraska, Montana, kind of Alaska, that whole region, right? Hawaii, they consider Hawaii in the West. Hawaii is its own market in itself, right?
No joke.
Yes. Then we have the South, which is like Texas all the way over to Florida, up to the Carolinas, right? Kind of right up to the bottom of Colorado and so forth. So that's your South. The Northeast is the Northeast, what we all consider to be the Northeast, right? Pennsylvania up to Maine, over to Maryland, Rhode Island. And then you have the Midwest, right? Which Ohio, Indiana, that whole area up to North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, that's our Midwest, okay? So these 4 regions. And what we're seeing is that it's a month over month 1.8% increase in pending contracts as a whole. And then we could break that down. The Midwest is up 0.3%. The Northeast is up 2.1%. The South is up 1%. And the West is up 6%.
Whoa, really?
Yes. So I'm very interested to see these numbers because the West is actually having probably the highest number of decrease in existing home sales. So this is kind of interesting. Now, remember, it's summer. Houses are on the market. People are moving. Okay. So some of these pending home sales is probably seasonal numbers that once we get through the summer, we'll kind of see how these shake out, Craig, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but overall, guys, again, sales are down. And if we look at this regionally, which is my next slide over here, with sales, like to look at this. This is kind of our look at the breakout of those 4 quadrants we just talked about, right? The Midwest, the West, the South, the Northeast. And what we're talking about right now, guys, is existing home sales year over year. And in the Midwest, they're down 1.2%. The Midwest market's still pretty good, especially in those price points we were talking about earlier, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
The Northeast is flat. They still have low inventory, is what we're seeing there. So they're staying pretty flat. The South was the biggest drop, actually.
Yeah.
And Florida is actually to blame for most of this. So the South is down 4.5% or 4.7%. Okay. And most of this actually lives a bit in Texas and Florida. When we actually get up to the Carolinas, they're actually seeing inventory. We're in Charlotte, right, Craig?
Mm-hmm.
They're still seeing some inventory issues in Charlotte. So it just kind of depends on where you're at. We're seeing a lot of price reductions in Florida. Like 50% of the listings have price reductions.
50%?
50%. Yes. But all I think that really means is those prices got so elevated.
Yeah.
They were really just too high. And again, buyers are figured it out that they don't have to buy a house in a minute now, right? We went through that period where they had to, like, as soon as the house came on the market, they had to go see it. They couldn't do anything else. They had to write an offer right away. And now we're seeing that inventory tick up and buyers are like, wait a minute, I can go look. I don't have to make these decisions. And so I think that's what you're seeing in that South Gulf State region is that. And then your West is down 2.9%. So, but what we see in those pending home sales again is I think we'll see these numbers tick up for June and July.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll kind of see what it shakes out to the fall to look like. So I actually predict that we still might hit that 4.5 million houses sold. It could happen.
Okay.
And we'll see once we get through summer and then we annualize those numbers and see what we're looking at. But I don't think we will head too much lower. I don't think we'll go lower for sure. So what that means is listings are still going to happen, guys. What's our business? It's listings, right?
Mm-hmm.
But agents are going to have to start thinking about some of their strategies, because what I want to show next,
This is what I wanted to dig into is, okay, all these big numbers, what does this mean day to day then for our businesses, and how realtors might be starting to panic a little bit because things aren't selling as fast. What opportunities does that make for us as the media professionals and consultants?
100%.
Yeah.
So 2 things I want to look at. And I will say, guys, if you're listening to this podcast, when you get a minute, get on the YouTube channel, come back and look at some of these stats. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because visually, to just really see it, is you can just feel the story. Okay. So what slide I have up right now is total existing home sales % change year over year from the last year. Okay. And what we're looking at is we had a height of December last year was a great month. We were up 9.7% from year over year in sales. December was great. January was great. And then what do you see happening there, Craig? We go down, 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 right? So far this year, we lost 0.9% in February. We lost 2.4% in March. We lost 2% of home sales in April. And then again, May is down 0.7. So
April surprises me. We like my market had a record year and record April. Month in April.
Yeah. And again, this is why we say, look at your numbers locally.
Right.
Because we're talking over a national market, right?
Sure.
Every 50 states is what is the data we're pulling together. Okay. Yeah. So, but this, you see the trend down, right? We're seeing that sales are trending down. Okay. The other thing that we see is, median price. So now we're looking at existing home sales and the median price. And remember, the median is that point in it, kind of in the, not your average, right? Median is taking the whole quantity of the sales and finding that median number. Okay. So if we look at this from December of last year, guys, we've done nothing but trend down in prices. This is what I'm talking about with the price corrections, right? Prices were still up 5.8% in December year over year. And then we see these trend down 3.9, 3.4, 2.6, 1.8, 1.3. Okay. So we're seeing these, like I said, these overall price corrections. That is going to lead to agents having to have really great strategies to sell listings, right? Right? You can't just throw it on the market, put it at a price. No, you're going to get 4 or 5 multiple offers. You have to create the multiple offers, Craig. Okay? And this is a shift. This is what Todd's talking about. This is a shift in the mindset. Agents need buyers. Buyers market. They want buyers, right? You always want listings. Don't get me wrong, because listings bring the buyers. Okay. But they have to really think about how they price these homes and how they market these homes, right? The marketing becomes so important here. So overall, I'm going to stop sharing because I think that's about the numbers that we have here, Craig.
Sure.
But overall, what I am thinking and what I have kind of laid out is we are getting to the point where agents can't skip the marketing. They can't. If they are out there taking cell phone pictures and putting a $400,000 house on the market, they are not going to get the most attention. Right now, listings need to get more attention, not less.
Right.
Okay. So how do we do that, Craig? How do we help these agents get more attention?
Well, I mean, video drives everything. All the algorithms. What I love about what we do, Shannon, and I feel like this is kind of my ultimate answer, is it really, for us, it doesn't matter if it's a seller's market or a buyer's market, but we have to understand the difference because the tools that we bring to them as their marketing consultants and team members, we can position the tools that we have either way.
Yes.
When it's a seller's market, these tools help them win more listings. They don't need it to sell the property. I've heard that so many times.
Yes.
So I'm like, you're right. You don't in this market, but if you want to win more listings,
you better show people what you can do.
And I saw the light bulb go on in multiple clients' eyes when I presented it that way. But now we're kind of trending more towards a buyer's market. So I feel like our message has to change. Our tools haven't changed, what we offer them, but how we position those tools does change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it creates moments for you to get in front of agents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And how do we do that? We can teach them, right? We should be teaching them how to use the media if they aren't already aware, or those are classes that agents like to attend. They like to understand, what else is out there? What do you have that can assist me and make my life easier in marketing these listings, right? I have a title of one. You could teach a class, Marketing Listings with the Best Media. And you can create a 30-minute class of the top 5 ways to use this media in social to attract more buyers to your listing. Period. You could do that because they can't skip it.
Yeah. I think it's not so much the what of what we offer. You can go in and say, we do this, we do that, we do that. But the value that we can bring them is in the how and the why. And the why.
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally agree, which is why I'm super excited about one thing that's releasing that Todd talked about on July 8th. And that is a brand new, gorgeous property website, guys. Absolutely gorgeous. And why we're here, if you're watching us on YouTube, you just saw Josie leave. Josie's my intern, and she's helping me. So she just is popping in and out and working on some things. So if you see her on the super user group, say hello. Like I said, she's managing a lot of social media for us. So she's also my niece. So be nice to her.
Very
everybody.
cool.
Yes. This property website, guys, it's going to have an about you section for the agents. The agents are going to have this and be able to add that right to their property website. It is a beautiful design. We've been working on this for a while, and this is just the first of many that we will bring. We will bring more templates to you guys. And why is this important on why I'm talking about it is you could literally lead a class on how and why to use this property website and how you can use it in leads, Facebook leads, Instagram leads. It has lead capture on it. You have all the tools that you need. No matter what brokerage you're at, you could utilize a company that uses these tools with us to have an amazing property website and showcase how the video and how the things are going to get them attention, right? But we've got to make sure that we're pricing houses correctly as agents. That's going to be the number one trick, is because now we could go a little bit higher into the comps and still know we're okay. And honestly, we could still do that. It just might take 120 days for the house to sell. So up to your seller, what are they really looking for? But if the agent really prices it right, they could still bring multiple offers. And the market is always going to bear the price for the home, right? Remember, we don't really set the prices, agents. We don't. The market tells us because people buy at a certain price, and that is what the home is worth.
Right.
Yes.
So it's important to understand these numbers, what the market has been doing, where we think the market is going. And when we is the media consultants, I like that term for some reason.
I do too.
And teammates with the realtor, when we understand the numbers, we're speaking the realtor's language, and you're positioning yourself as more than just a photographer. And I hate to say this, but photography, if you only talk about photography, it boils down to a commodity.
It does.
But if you could position yourself as somebody that understands the market as a whole and how your tools, your commodity can help them grow their business, you've now positioned yourself differently than someone that isn't diving into the numbers. That's why we want to give you these updates. And Shannon, I appreciate what you're doing in digging into that and sharing that with our listeners and viewers. So.
Absolutely. It's like I said, I love the numbers. So it's fun for me to dig in. But yeah, what we're going to see the next couple months is, we'll go through our summer market. Todd is right. 4th of July is like a break. It's like the middle of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The agents need a break. Everybody celebrates the 4th of July. So
at least here in the U.S.
Yes, true. And so we all and all the other countries have their little holidays too. We actually, guys, let's hear from you. Let's tell us what holidays you guys all celebrate and how your markets shift in those holidays.
That would be interesting.
Yes, yeah. It really would. So we should, and I will start to search some other industries and some other markets and some other countries. We do have some great clients in these other countries. I'll reach out to them, see what kind of market data I can get so that we can definitely look at that. But really lean in, if my final message is anything,
mm-hmm.
It is lean into the teaching of these agents on how to use video to get more buyers, to attract more attention to their listing, which in the end will still bring them more listings too, mm-hmm. right? It'll do both. And then right now, the other opportunity is probably the branding. Guys, agents need the branding more than ever in this social world that we live in and how they market their businesses. And they should lean into some new content with it shifting to a buyer's market. So you should be able to go out there and capture some content appointments because they haven't had to talk about a buyer's market in a while. They haven't had to talk about super shifting markets, right? We've kind of been in this just easy kind of spot, but agents have to work, right? It's no longer like I can just get my license, put my feet on the desk, say I'm an agent and get business. It's not going to happen.
Right.
It's time to get back to work. So that is where we can really come in and help. And I'm excited to bring this content and we'll continue to bring it.
It's good stuff. And especially as things start to slow down and, in fall, late fall, winter, when maybe you have more time to do those brokerage presentations, those one-on-one coffee meetings, things like this, the new property websites, the marketing toolkit that just got revamped in Spiro, it will give you educational opportunities and not just, don't look at it as a sales call or a sales appointment or a sales presentation. Look at it as a consulting and educational appointment, presentation, whatever, and show them how to use the tools to help increase their business. And you're going to, when I first started in this, I started with a sales presentation, right? Who my company was, what I could, the tools I had. And I didn't really show the how and the why and the benefit. I just was talking about the features. But as I've stayed in the market longer, everybody knows, most everybody, unless you're a brand new agent, knows who Wow Video Tours is. Right. So I've realized I can't just keep doing a sales presentation. I've got to show the benefit that we bring to them. And so tools like this, understanding the numbers, take all of that as the owner, as the business development specialist in your company, and run with it. Have some fun with it. Show them how you're different and how you can really be a valuable and profitable team member for them to help them grow their real estate business.
I totally agree. When we talk about at KW, it's one reason why I do love KW. Is we talk about giving. Giving back is a part of who we are. And the way you can give to the agents without having to give up anything monetarily is give them information, give them value, right? We talk about this value. If we're not offering value, then there's nothing there for us to build a relationship on.
Right.
And what do we know about relationships, Craig?
Well, I know they drive everything.
They drive everything, right? So go create those relationships, give the value, learn the struggle of what your agent that you're trying to do business with is going through so you can understand how to help them, right? And that conversation, that will bring you a client for life. And that will also bring you a raving fan who will then go out and talk about you and refer you. So all of this stuff works together. I'm happy to dive in with anybody. Oh, I totally forgot about this. I should tell everybody.
Oh boy.
I am going to start a coaching call once a month for 1 hour that anybody can come on.
Ah.
Anyone. So it's definitely geared for our onboarding clients at a certain level. Okay. But I'm going to open it up and let anybody come on. So the more information to come about this. But in this 1 hour, we'll really talk about what anybody wants to. And we can talk about how to grow, how to maybe fire clients. Because sometimes we have to do that. Like it happens, right? And what clients to go after and how to target. So I'm excited about it. We want to keep giving you guys more and more. Again, that's the value, right? We're going to give the value because we know it's the right thing to do. And that's essentially what everybody else should do.
Yeah. I'm glad you said something about firing a client because once in a while that does need to happen. There was a listener I was talking with a couple months ago and they shared with me, I love what you're sharing about relationships and I'm trying to do all that, but I had this client that strung me along and ended up dumping me, even though I put all this work into the relationship and it makes me just want to give up. I just want to encourage you. We all have those type of clients at some point in our career, in our business. You can't let that one or two, or maybe even three drag you down and make you want to throw your hands up in the air and give up on the relationship approach. Because there will always be people that will price shop and not value the relationship the same way that you do. And ultimately, I want to just tell you, that's not the type of client you want. And they will drain energy from you from doing what you could do for those that do appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Let them go.
Absolutely. Let them go. Let them go. Agents do the same thing. I mean, we have to let them go too. You know, sometimes you just can't please somebody and you shouldn't take that to heart and feel that.
Yeah, you can't take it personal.
You can't. There, you know, and so there's plenty of agents out there. Plenty. And they're coming in and out of the business all day long.
Yep.
Okay. So go find the people that value a relationship and work with them. And definitely don't be upset if you just have to tell a client, hey, we're just not a good fit. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shannon, thank you so much. Appreciate your insight and wisdom.
Yeah, thanks. I always enjoy being on. So whatever you guys come up with other topics, I'm happy to join about those, but this is definitely near and dear to my heart. So I'm happy to deliver. If
you've got a story about what's going on in your market, strategies you want to share, feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube channel, or feel free to email us as well. We'd love to hear from you. It's just hello@spiro.media. And if you want to learn more about Spiro itself, check out the website. Again, just spiro.media. But we really do appreciate you guys taking time, especially during this busy season, that you take to either watch the podcast or listen in between appointments or during your workday. We just want to say thank you. We don't take that for granted. Yep. Absolutely. Craig, it's a pleasure to see you as always. Thank you. Likewise. Thank you. Thank you. All Enjoy the rest of your summer, sir. I plan on it. Vacation. Speaking of the 4th and taking vacation, I'm going to be out the next couple of weeks. There you go. Time Love with my family. So good. Enjoy it as you should. We do have to take advantage of these times, right? Yeah. Yes. I took a couple of days off next week as well because we'll all kind of quiet down and we'll enjoy. Right. So we always end the podcast by me reminding you, be thankful for the blessings in your life and make sure you take a breath. And that's what I'm doing, trying to practice what we preach. You guys have a great week. Thanks for joining us. Todd will be back with you next week. No. we're going to take a break because of the 4th. It's going to be 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. All right. You guys have a great week. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you for joining us for the Spiro Podcast, Managing Your Real Estate Photography and Videography Business. This is a production of Spiro and Wow Video Tours. You can find out more about Spiro's real estate media business management software at our website, spiro.media.